Next up is DeWitt Clinton, a poet, U.S. Army veteran, artillery battery in Vietnam, November 69 to January 70. He lives in Shorewood and is a emeritus professor of English at UW-Whitewater. His 2 collections of poetry are to be published in late 2018. Please welcome to the stage DeWitt Clinton.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm very glad to be here. I came home from Vietnam in 1970, and this is my first veteran event. So it's quite a challenge. I've been writing about war since I was in Vietnam, but I never quite went to any veteran events. So these are a few poems I've been writing over the years. This is the title poem, At the End of the War. This is a poem based on a Polish poet by the name of Wisława Słabowska. She writes a poem called The End and the Beginning. At the end of the war. We need to do something about all the lost limbs. Would someone please volunteer to search for all those lost limbs, arms, faces? We're all thirsty, yes, but does anyone know where we can find a brook, a creek that doesn't have our floating cousins? Yes, we need a morgue, but first we must find a few dogs to tell us who is beneath the stones. We know Gertrude and Maurice and maybe Alphonse, maybe more, all have to be found. Bandages, surely someone has some bandages. We want to rebuild. Does anyone have a ladder? Let's leave God out of this for a while. Let's start in the square and slowly remove what was thrown down from the sky. Who knows how to get a good weather report? Will there be good weather for tomorrow? Yes, that's a good idea. But we can always talk. There's always time to talk. We've got such a mess. Brooms. Everybody. Find all the brooms we can find. Can someone send a letter? We need to let someone know this has happened. Tomorrow we can start burning our families. Surely someone will see the smoke. Surely someone will come. I've been adapting poems of a classical ancient Chinese poet by the name of Du Fu. After watching another NCIS episode, I retreat to my office to read I Passed the Night at General Headquarters by Du Fu. Every day we receive updates on the battle for Marja. No one knows how many Taliban have dug in or died. Sometimes I wonder if I'm ever left my post, still shouldering an old M16 long out of ammo, stuck on Hill 477 in camouflage. I hate monsoons. It's peaceful where I live, by the lake, far away from sandbag bunkers. I haven't saluted an officer for years. I still call everyone sir or ma'am. I missed all the victory parades. I've thrown out all my ribbons and medals. But somewhere, Du Fu writes, the frontier pass is unguarded. And like Du Fu, I wait patiently for new orders. Remembering high beams on night commutes, I read Du Fu's Night Thoughts while traveling. At night, traveling at high speeds, I sometimes crane my neck so the moon can shine all yellowy into my old blue eyes. Moon risings are breathtaking, a relief after moving papers and students around all day. In the fall, I dread the high beams reflecting in deer's eyes, tiny moons I don't want to crash into. Du Fu writes, my poems have not made me famous, but without them, I might as well have died when NVA sappers overran our outpost, the night lit with tracer rounds, a Russian flamethrower. Su Tongpu, another classical Chinese poet, wrote, at Gold Hill Monastery, I don't ever want to return to what I would call home in the Songshan River Valley. From there I directed cannon fire on wandering NVA or VC, a few clicks from the South China Sea. On a South Florida beach, I told my wife, how much a trip back would do me good. Old vets have made their way back, building schools and clinics to make something that was not there. If I ever did go back, and won't, I'd have a terrible time just trying to find which hill it was. Not ever taken tours unless you'd call a walk from one bunker to another, the next with helmet and flak jacket as a stroll. We looked to the mountains just inside Laos, so every sunset we'd climb up high on our roofs and gaze far out into political vistas, into postcard vistas, so peaceful we thought we monks might find a place to chase some peace that we all wished would find us in a way past here to somewhere where those who knew how to converse could find something each side knew how to agree around some dignitary's Parisian table. Despite all the tons of napalm dropped low for great despair, making those who were below glow like melting crispy light or Agent Orange, which ruined every range of trees so we could simply see who's on the trail. I haven't slept too well. Though all the ghosts have come to rest somewhere in the back part of what's left up here in my brain, old movies bring this all back, even though I keep loading old howitzers as if I'd never left. I may never, ever think of landing again at this old miserable monastery of men who have nothing good ever come from there. I have, though, thought of traveling back to see those spellbinding monks. Two lighter poems. This is an interview with a ruin, and a ruin is a rock where you request secrets, or answers to secrets. Where do most poems grow? Under hate, or injustice, or regrettably to the tumbling of love and death? How do they ignite the world in the far recesses of sleep? Can any ever move a stone? Once in Ireland we've heard this, and of course, whenever we hear this, we wonder more. We've heard some lie in wait for countless years. How can this be true? Few are ever present when the two are one. Some have tried counting all of the many. Is this wise? No one has ever quantified such madness. When some fall asleep, why do so many rhyme in triplets? Some who dream this see only the desires left. Why do so many appear when one or two begin to talk? We've heard this also of some who swim near the bottoms. Most stay in inner recesses where not in use. Why is this? For if not there, where? We've not seen odes to fallen soldiers in quite some time. Can you tell us more? So many have died since the first wars. Few notice the losses, and stones in neat rows replace what once was sorrow. And one last poem. Has anyone ever lost anything? Can I see a hand? Everything is kind of blurry up here. Can I see it? Have you lost anything? This is a poem based on an Elizabeth Bishop poem, The Art of Losing. I wish I knew what's going on or gone, as I can't quite remember what I've been doing here with you, but I wanted very much to say, I very much wanted to drop by, but now I wonder just why I left the house for something so simple as a coffee and a bagel. And there I'm standing at the corner, at the counter, wondering, where's my billfold or even cash, driving home a back route to stay away from waiting patrol cars that just might stop me as I look just like that old guy out for a drive without the wallet or a wad of cash. But it's worse, you see. Just yesterday I left a satchel full of old snails, shells, and only later I left them on their own in the quiet dark. It's been like this for days and days. I can't remember how many days of losing keys, forgetting cash, leaving paper and pen in places I never should. But then I'm quite relieved knowing how I'll lose a lot more than just these. Or maybe not just lose, but forget that I'd better be here than without. But it's true. I'm also losing height down an inch, and I can't see all the way back to the back of a room I'm in, or gray cells which seem to be absent without any thank you or permission to leave, or friends who I can't figure out why they aren't around, or the time it used to take to run a race that far. For now, let's not appreciate the art of losing things, as Elizabeth once said, made so beautiful, as losing is a lot worse than wandering around looking for more that's missing. Thank you.